Chidi, I want to go home, she whispered. I miss Mama and Papa. I'm so hungry. Chidi, though equally scared, tried to stay strong for her little sister. He wrapped his arm around her. I know, Chinonye. I miss them too. But we have to be brave. Mama and Papa will find us. I promise. It was Harmattan season in Oko village, in the eastern part of Nigeria. The wind was cold, and the dust filled the air. Leaves crackled underfoot, and the sky was dull. Ogadi sat close to the fire. Her wrapper pulled tightly around her shoulders. Nai, Chidi and Chinonye are yet to be back from the market, Ogadi said, looking at her husband with a worried face. Okoro sighed deeply, rubbing his face with his hand. They left for the market since afternoon, but they should have been back by now, she said, shaking her head. Ogadi stood up, her heart heavy with worry. I don't like this, Nai. Something is wrong. I can feel it in my heart. She stopped pacing and looked at him. What if something had happened to them? What if they had been taken by someone? Okoro looked at her, his face full of concern. Ogadi, you know I won't let anyone hurt our children. They must be safe. They are just delayed, nothing more. It was Christmas Eve in the village. Normally, the children would be helping their mother decorate the small tree in the corner of their home, and the air would be filled with the smell of freshly roasted yam and palm oil. But tonight, everything felt different. The excitement of the season was overshadowed by worry, and the usual joy that filled the village was now replaced by a thick, uncomfortable silence. Just then, there was a loud knock at the door. Knock, knock, knock. Okoro opened the door quietly. Maazibe, an older man from the village, stood outside. His face was pale, and his breathing was heavy. Okoro, come with me quickly, Maazi Ibe said urgently. There is trouble at the village square. Ogadi felt her heart race. What is it, Maazibe? What happened? Without answering, Maazibe turned and hurried away. Ogadi and Okoro followed him to the village square, where a small crowd had gathered. Chief Ume, the village leader, stood in the center. In front of him was a sack tied tightly with something inside that seemed to move. What is happening, Chief Ume? Okoro asked as he stepped forward. Chief Ume raised his hand, signaling for silence. The sack was found near the forest, he said, his voice serious. It belongs to the Okoro family. Ogade gasped. What do you mean? Where are my children? What have you found? A man standing next to Chief Ume untied the sack slowly. He pulled out Chidi and Chinonye's clothes. The clothes were torn and covered in dust, as if they had been dragged through the dirt. Then, the man held up a piece of paper and handed it to Chief Ume. Chief Ume opened the paper and read aloud, They are gone. They will not return. Ogadi fell to her knees, her hands trembling. No! No! This can't be true, she cried, tears running down her face. Okoro stood there, his fists clenched, his voice filled with anger and pain. Who did this? Where are my children? Tell me. Maazibe stepped forward, his voice low and unsure. Okoro, I don't know. No one knows. But there are whispers. Some say it could be the work of strangers. Or maybe. He paused, glancing at the crowd. Maybe it's a punishment from the gods. Punishment from the gods? Ogade asked, her voice full of fear. What have we done to deserve this? We have done nothing wrong. Chief Ume raised his hand again, trying to calm the crowd. We don't know who is behind this. We must not jump into conclusion, he said. We will search the forest, the market, and all the nearby villages. We will not rest until we find Chidi and Chinonye. Ogade looked up at Okoro. Her eyes filled with sorrow. But Nani, what if we can't find them? What if they are lost forever? Okoro grabbed her hand tightly. Don't say that. We will find them. I will find them. No one takes my children and gets away with it. The harmattan wind blew stronger, the dust swirling around them. The villagers stood in silence, fear in their eyes. Nai, please, Ogade whispered, looking at her husband. Bring them back to me. It was Christmas Eve, but there was no joy. The stars in the sky seemed dimmer than usual. The night grew darker, and the cold wind blew harder. The usual sound of children laughing and singing Christmas songs were replaced by the unsettling silence of the village. No one knew where Chidi and Chinonye had gone. Ogade and Okoro were left with nothing but worry, fear, and the haunting silence of the harmattan night. Ogade's heart sank as she looked at the empty spot where Chidi and Chinonye usually sat. She could almost hear their laughter, but it was just an echo now, like a dream fading into the cold night. The Christmas season had come, but the joy had vanished, leaving behind only fear and unanswered questions. The next morning, the harmattan wind still blew through Oko village, making the air cold and dry. The villagers were not celebrating Christmas like they usually do. Instead, everyone was worried. The children, who were supposed to be playing outside, were staying inside, and the usual sound of laughter and music were gone. Ogade and Okoro couldn't sleep. The pain of their missing children kept them awake. The night was long, and every time the wind howled through the trees, they imagined it was bringing bad news. Ogade sat by the fire, staring into the flames. Her mind raced with fear. Where could Chidi and Chinonye have gone? Who would take them? Why? Nani, do you think they are still alive? Ogade asked softly, breaking the silence in their heart. Okoro didn't answer right away. His face was set in a hard expression, his eyes dark with worry. He stood and walked to the door, looking out at the village. The sky was overcast, and the dust from the harmattan storm swirled around the hut. It was too quiet. I don't know, Ogade, he said, his voice thick with emotion. But I will find them. I swear, I will find them. Ogade stood up and walked to him, placing her hand on his arm. We cannot give up, Nai. We must not. Our children need us. They are out there somewhere. I know, my love, Okoro said, his voice softening as he looked at her. We will not rest until we bring them home. At that moment, Mazi Ibe arrived at their hut. He looked tired and troubled. The news he carried was not good. Okoro, Ogade, we have searched the village,
and there is still no sign of children. Mazi Ibe said, his voice heavy with sadness. We need to look further. We will search the forest and the nearby hills. Okoro nodded, determination filling his heart. I will go with you, Mazi Ibe. I will not stop until I find my children. Ogadi looked at him with worry in her eyes. Be careful, Nai. We do not know what dangers are out there. I will be fine, Okoro reassured her, squeezing her hand. The gods will protect me. Ogadi nodded, though she could see the fear in his eyes. Bring them back to me, she whispered. Okoro, Mazi Ibe, and a few other villagers set out early that morning to search the forest and hills around the village. Ogadi stayed behind, hoping and praying for the safe return of her children. She spent the day sitting by the fire, staring at the empty space where her children used to play. As night fell, Ogadi felt even more alone. The cold harmattan wind howled through the trees, and the darkness seems to stretch on forever. The village was quiet, too quiet. No one was singing, no one was laughing, and the children's voice were missing. It felt like Christmas had been stolen from them, like everything that had brought joy to their home had disappeared with their children. Ogadi stood up and walked outside, looking up at the sky. The stars were faint behind the heavy cloud, but she could still see the moon. She closed her eyes and whispered a prayer to the gods. Please, she said, her voice shaking, please bring my children home. I cannot bear this pain anymore. Few hours after she finished her prayer, Okoro returned. He was alone, his face weary, his clothes covered in dirt from the search. Nai, Ogadi cried, running to him. Did you find them? Where are they? Okoro shook his head, his face dark with worry. No, Ogadi. I searched everywhere. The forest, the hills, the neighboring villages. No one had seen them. No one knows anything. Ogadi felt her heart break. Then, where are they, Nani? Why are they gone? What happened? Okoro pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly. I don't know, Ogadi, but we will not give up. We will keep searching. I promise you, we will find them. Ogadi wiped away her tears, her heart heavy with worry. Please, Nani, please bring them back. I can't live like this. As they stood together in the cold night, the wind howled around them, carrying the bitter cold of the harmattan season. But there was no warmth in their hearts, only fear and sadness. The Christmas season had come, but it brought no joy to Oko village, only sorrow and unanswered questions. And with each passing day, Ogadi and Okoro wondered if their children would ever return. How Chidi and Chinonye were kidnapped. It was a sunny afternoon, and Ogadi had asked her children to go to the market to buy some things they would need to decorate their house for the Christmas celebration. The village was full of excitement as everyone prepared for the big day. Ogadi gave Chidi and Chinonye a basket with some money and reminded them to be careful and come back quickly. Chidi and Chinonye happily set off towards the market, talking excitedly about all the things they would buy. The air was dry and cool from the harmattan winds, and the sound of the village grew louder as they got closer to the market. The market was busy with people selling fruits, clothes, and decorations, all ready for Christmas.
They picked up the palm frond, red and green ribbons, and some dried flowers that Ogade had asked them for. They were laughing and chatting, excited to help make the house beautiful for Christmas. But as they were walking back home, something strange happened. As they walked along the quiet path near the forest, the sound of footsteps behind them made them stop and turn around. To their surprise, a group of men appeared, moving quickly and quietly through the trees. Their faces were hidden with scarves, and they wore dark-ranged clothes. The men didn't speak, but their presence made the children feel uneasy. Before Chidi or Chinonye could even scream, one of the men grabbed Chidi, and another man grabbed Chinonye. The cold steel of the knife pressed against Chidi's neck. "Don't shout," one of the men said harshly. "You will regret it if you do so." Chinonye tried to fight back, kicking and struggling, but one of the men slapped her across the face, causing her to fall to the ground. Her tears mixed with the dirt on her cheeks, but she stayed quiet, too scared to do anything else. The men walked quickly, their movement cold and practiced. One of them pulled out a knife, and with a sharp cut, he tore Chidi's shirt into pieces. The blade slid through the fabrics as if it was nothing, and Chidi winced in pain. "Please, don't hurt us," he cried, but the men ignored him. They shoved the torn pieces of his clothes into a large sack. Chinonye sobbed, but the man holding her only silenced her with a rough hand. He ripped her dress with the knife, tearing it apart. Chinonye tried to scream, but her voice was muffled. She couldn't escape. Her clothes, like Chidi's clothes, were stuffed into the sack. After tearing their clothes, the men dropped the sack to the ground. They didn't speak to the children. Instead, they dragged them deeper into the forest. Chidi and Chinonye couldn't understand why this was happening. They were so frightened. They couldn't think of anything to do. The men didn't care about their cries or questions. They only kept pulling them further away from the village, from their home, from everything they knew. The last thing the children saw was the path leading back to Oko village, the home they would never return to that night. The men had taken them without warning, leaving behind only the sack-torn clothes, a sign of the horror that had just begun. Chidi and Chinonye were dragged deeper into the forest. The thick trees blocked out the sunlight, and the sound of their village grew quieter, replaced by the rustling of leaves underfoot and the occasional bird call. The men did not speak to them, and the silence between the children and their captors were heavy with fear. Chidi, at 12 years old, was strong for his age, but his heart pounded in his chest. He could still feel the sharp blade of the knife pressed against his neck, and the memory of his torn clothes filled him with dread. His mind raced, trying to understand what was happening. Why had the men taken them? Who were they? And most importantly, how could they escape? "Chinonye," Chidi whispered, trying to stay calm. His voice was shaky but determined. "We have to stay quiet and think of a way to escape. Don't let them see we are scared." Chinonye, who was just 9 years, wiped tears from her eyes with the back of her hand and nodded, but she looked terrified. "I am scared, Chidi. I want to go home." Chidi squeezed her sister's hand and tried to be brave for her. "I know, Chinonye.
But we have to be strong. Mama and Papa will be looking for us. They will find us. We just need to stay alive and wait for the right moment." The men didn't stop. They continued pulling the children along through the thick trees and tall grass. The forest felt endless, and every step they took seemed to take them further away from their village. The children had no idea where they were being taken or what the men wanted with them. As they walked, Chidi realized that the men weren't just wandering. They were moving with purpose, as if they had a plan. This made him even more uneasy. If the men had a plan, it meant they had been preparing to take them all along. The forest grew darker, and the sun began to sink lower in the sky. Chidi's legs grew tired, and his stomach growled with hunger. Chinonye too looked exhausted. Her face was pale, and her eyes were red from crying. The cold wind from the harmattan season made the forest feel even more frightening, biting at their skin. Finally, after what felt like hours, the men stopped in a small clearing. In the center of the clearing was a crude hut made of sticks and leaves. The hut looked abandoned, as if no one had lived there for a long time. Chidi's heart sank. He could feel the danger in the air. The men stopped and pushed the children towards the hut. Inside, one of the men ordered, his voice cold and commanding. Chidi and Chinonye hesitated for a moment. But when they saw the sharp, threatening look in the man's eyes, they quietly obeyed. They entered the hut, which smelled damp and smoky. The only light came from the small fire burning in the middle of the room, casting shadows on the walls. The space was cold and dark, making the children feel even more alone. The men stood outside, talking in low voices, but Chidi couldn't make out their words. He wanted to ask them why they had taken them, but he was too scared. Chinonye was trembling beside him. Her small hands clenched into fists. Chidi wrapped his arm around her younger sister, trying to protect her. "We are going to be okay, Chinonye," he whispered, though his own fear made his words sound unsure. "We just have to stay strong and wait for the right time to escape." But deep down, Chidi knew they couldn't stay here much longer. The longer they waited, the harder it would be to escape. They had to find a way out, and soon. Back in Oko village, the news of Chidi and Chinonye's disappearance spread like wildfire. Villagers gathered at Okoro's compound, their faces filled with worry. Okoro paced up and down, his eyes red and swollen from sleepless nights. His wife, Ogade, sat on the ground, weeping loudly. "Nanye, where are my children? Where is Chidi? Where is Chinonye?" Ogade cried, her voice shaking. Okoro knelt beside her, his voice heavy with pain. "Ogade, I don't know, but I will not stop searching until we find them. Chidi and Chinonye will come back home." Villagers offered comfort, but no one had answered. Mazibe, Okoro's friend, stood nearby, holding a lantern. "Okoro, let us search the forest again. The children may be out there, scared and hiding." "Yes," Okoro said, his voice trembling. "We will search again. I cannot rest while my children are out there." The villagers spread out, calling Chidi and Chinonye's name into the cold harmattan wind. The air was dry, and the dust made their voices sound hoarse. The search party combed through the trees, hoping for a sign, any sign that children were nearby. Meanwhile, Chidi and Chinonye sat huddled together inside the hut where the men kept them. A day had passed since they were taken, and the fear in their hearts grew heavier with each moment. Chinonye sobbed quietly, her small body shaking as tears streamed down her cheeks. "Chidi, I want to go home," she whispered. "I miss Mama and Papa. I'm so hungry." Chidi, though equally scared, tried to stay strong for her little sister. He wrapped his arm around her. "I know, Chinonye. I miss them too. But we have to be brave. Mama and Papa will find us. I promise." The men guiding them barely spoke to the children. They threw scraps of food, a piece of dry yam here, a handful of cold rice there, and expected them to eat in silence. Chidi tried to make the food last for Chinonye, giving her the bigger portions, but it was never enough. Their stomachs growled, and with their energy faded. The forest outside was cold and airy, with the harmattan wind whistling through the trees. Chinonye shivered, her hands tightly clutching her brother's torn shirt. "Why did they take us, Chidi? What do they want from us?" "I don't know," Chidi admitted, his voice low. "But we must stay strong. We will find a way out, Chinonye. We must." At the same time, Okoro and the villagers continued their search. Ogadi, too weak to join them, knelt in the compound. Her hands raised towards the sky. "Chukwu, please protect my children," she cried. "Bring them back to me safely." Mazi Ibe called out as they searched deeper into the forest. "Chidi! Chinonye! Can you hear us?" But the only answer was the rustling of the leaves and the occasional cry of a distant bird. Okoro's heart ached as he imagined his children scared and hungry, alone in the wilderness. "We must find them," he said firmly. "I cannot go back without my children." Inside the hut, Chinonye's sobbing grew louder, and one of the men turned to them. "Keep quiet, girl!" He barked, his voice harsh. Chidi held Chinonye tighter, whispering to her, "Don't cry, Chinonye. We will get through this. We will go home, I promise." But deep down, even Chidi began to doubt his words. One day had passed, and the forest felt darker and more hopeless with each passing moment. Would they ever see their home again? It was Christmas Day, but for Chidi and Chinonye, there was no joy, no gift, no decoration. Instead, they were being dragged through the forest by the men who had taken them. The harmattan wind blew cold and dry, stinging their faces. "Keep moving," one of the men shouted. Chidi held Chinonye's hand tightly, trying to stay calm. "Don't be scared," he whispered to her. "We will be fine." Chinonye's lips quivered, but she nodded. She was hungry and tired, her small legs struggling to keep up with the men's pace. The group stopped at a small hidden shrine deep in the forest. The shrine was old and strange, with carved wooden marks and bones lying around. Chidi's heart sank as he looked at it. He remembered the stories he had overheard about people being taken to shrines for rituals. One of the men turned to the others. "The native doctor will be here soon. Let's get them ready." The children were tied to a wooden pole near the shrine.
Chinonye started to cry softly. "Chidi, I want to go home," she said. Chidi clenched his feet. "I know, Chinonye. Just stay close to me. Don't give up. Mama and Papa will find us." The men sat down and began talking. One of them picked up the sack they had brought and shook it. Torn pieces of Chidi and Chinonye's clothes fell out. That would make the villagers think they were gone for good. One man said, laughing, "We caught them yesterday." Another replied, "By now, their parents must be crying and searching everywhere." Chidi listened, his heart pounding. He could imagine his parents running around, calling their names, wondering where they could be. He wished he could shout for help, but the men were watching them closely. After a while, the native doctor arrived. He was an old man with a long red robe and white chalk on his face. He carried a bag filled with strange items, cowries, shells, feathers, and bottle of dark liquid. His eyes were cold and scary. "Are these the ones?" the native doctor asked, pointing at Chidi and Chinonye. "Yes," one of the men said. "Everything is ready." The native doctor looked at Chinonye and nodded. "The girl will go first. The spirits prefer her." Chinonye gasped and started crying louder. "Chidi, I'm scared." Chidi's fear turned into anger. "Leave her alone," he shouted. "Take me instead. Please, don't hurt her." The native doctor chuckled coldly. "You? The spirits do not want you. The girl is the sacrifice." "Please," Chidi begged, tears streaming down his face. "She's my sister. Take me instead." The men ignored him and began preparing the shrine. They poured dark liquid on the ground and chanted strange words. Chidi's heart broke as Chinonye sobbed, trembling in fear. He whispered to her, "Don't give up, Chinonye. Mama and Papa will find us. I promise." But as the native doctor raised his hand to begin the ritual, Chidi wondered if anyone would come in time to save them. The Dibia raised his hands, holding a sharp knife. He was about to start the ritual when something strange happened. A bright lightning flashed in the sky, even though there was no cloud. The lightning struck the native doctor's hand, and the knife fell to the ground. The men and the native doctor stood still, shocked. "What was that?" one of the men asked, looking around. The native doctor picked up the knife and said, "It's nothing. Let me continue." But when he lifted the knife again, another lightning struck. This time, the knife fell out of his hand and hit one of the men in the thigh. The man screamed in pain and fell to the ground, holding his bleeding leg. The force also threw the native doctor to the ground. Chidi and Chinonye held each other tightly, watching with wide eyes. The native doctor got up slowly, his face full of fear. He looked at the children, then at the injured man. "Where did you take these children from?" he asked, his voice shaking. One of the men answered, "We took them from Oko village, near the market." The native doctor's eyes widened, and he shouted, "Who told you to take children from Oko village?" The men stared at him, confused. "What is the problem, native doctor?" one of them asked. The native doctor pointed at the sky and said, "These children's god is strong. Their village god, Chi Amoma, is the god of lightning. He protects his people
especially during a festive or happy period like this. You have brought big trouble by taking these children." The men looked scared. One of them said, "What do we do now?" The native doctor replied, "If I try to continue, their God will strike us all dead. Take these children back now. Don't waste time." The men hurried to untie Chidi and Chinonye. "But the village is far," one of them said nervously. "Then carry them." The native doctor shouted, "Take them to the big road and leave them there. After that, run away quickly." The men didn't argue. They lifted Chidi and Chinonye carefully this time, no longer dragging them. Chidi whispered to Chinonye, "Don't be scared. We will be okay now. Chi Amoma have saved us. Thanks to the Christmas season. If not, I don't know what would have been our fate today." They carried the children through the forest until they reached a big road. They sat them down gently and looked around to make sure no one was there. Without saying a word, the men disappeared into the woods. Chidi held Chinonye close. The wind was cold and they were tired. Chinonye looked up at her brother and said, "I want to go home, Chidi." Chidi wiped her tears and said, "We will go home, Chinonye. Mama and Papa will find us soon. Chi Amoma is here with us." The two sat by the roadside, hoping and waiting for someone to find them. Chidi and Chinonye were walking slowly on the dusty road. Their legs hot and their stomachs growled with hunger. The harmattan wind blew softly, carrying dust in the air. Chidi held Chinonye's hand tightly as they moved forward, their eyes scanning the empty road. Soon, they heard the sound of a car coming from behind. Chidi quickly pulled Chinonye to the side of the road and said, "Let's keep walking. Don't say anything to anyone." The car stopped beside them. A man got out and walked towards them. He looked surprised and worried. "Children, what are you doing here? Why do you look so tired? Are you lost?" Chidi stood in front of Chinonye, trying to protect her. "We are fine, sir," he said, his voice low. But Chinonye couldn't hold it anymore. She started crying loudly. "I am hungry. I want to go home." The man's face softened. "Oh no, you poor children. Wait here." He ran back to his car, opened the door, and brought out bread and a bottle of water. "Here, eat this," the man said kindly. "I'm going to my village to celebrate Christmas with my parents. But I can't leave you like this." Chidi hesitated, but Chinonye grabbed the bread and started eating quickly. Chidi watched her sister for a moment, then took small too. They drank the water and slowly they began to feel better. When they finished eating, the man crouched down to their level. "Now, can you tell me what happened? Why are you here all alone?" Chidi looked at Chinonye, then at the man. The man's eyes were kind, and his voice was gentle. Chidi decided to trust him. "My name is Chidi, and this is my sister, Chinonye," he began. "We were coming back from the market when some bad men took us. They tied us up and took us to a forest. They wanted to use us for rituals, but lightning saved us. They dropped us on the road and ran away. We have been walking since then." The man listened carefully, his face full of pity. "Oh my goodness, what you two have been through is terrible." He paused and said, My name is Okechukwu. I promise to help you find your home. Which village are you from? Chidi's face brightened. We are from Oko village. Please, help us get back to our parents. They must be so worried. Okechukwu nodded. Don't worry, I will take you home. First, let's get you into the car so you can rest. Chidi held Chinonye's hand. As they walked to the car, Okechukwu opened the door and helped them in. As the car started moving, Chinonye looked at Chidi and whispered, "We are going home, Chidi." Chidi smiled for the first time in days. "Yes, Chinonye, we are going home." Okechukwu drove Chidi and Chinonye to a nearby town. The streets were busy with people buying things for Christmas. He stopped the car and turned to them. "Come, let's get you something nice to wear. You can't go home looking like this." Chinonye smiled shyly, while Chidi nodded. They entered a shop, and Okechukwu picked out new clothes and shoes for both of them. Chinonye touched her dress, and her face lit up. "It's so pretty," she said, twirling around. Okechukwu smiled. "You deserve it, little one." After buying the clothes, they went to a small restaurant. Okechukwu ordered rice, chicken, and soft drinks for them. Chidi and Chinonye ate hungrily, their faces filled with happiness. "Thank you, Uncle Okechukwu," Chinonye said with a mouth full of food. "You are welcome, my dear," Okechukwu replied. As they ate, Okechukwu listened to their story about how they were going to decorate their house for Christmas before everything went wrong. He thought for a moment and said, "Christmas is a time to celebrate and share love. I will make sure you still have a beautiful Christmas." After the meal, Okechukwu took them to another shop. He bought decoration items like shiny ribbons, small bells, and bright paper stars. He also bought plenty of goodies. Chidi looked at him, surprised. "Why are you buying so much, Uncle?" Okechukwu smiled. "Because Christmas is not just about us. It's about sharing love with others. I know the people in your village don't have much, and this will make them happy too." Chinonye clapped her hands. "That's so kind." With everything ready, Okechukwu took them back to his car. As they drove, he said, "I'm from Eziama village. It's not far from your village, Oko. We are neighbors." Chidi and Chinonye were happy to hear this. "Thank you for helping us, Uncle," Chidi said. "You are like family now," Okechukwu said warmly. When they arrived at Oko village, the sun was setting. The villagers were outside, still looking for the children. When they saw the car, they rushed over. "Chidi! Chinonye!" Their mother, Ogade, cried out, running toward them. She hugged them tightly, tears streaming down her face. "Nai! Come! Our children are back!" Okoro ran out and embraced them too. "Thank God you are safe." Okechukwu stepped forward and greeted everyone. He told them how he found the children and what had happened. The villagers thanked him, their hearts full of gratitude. Okechukwu brought out the goodies he had bought. "This is for the village," he said. "Christmas is a time to share love. Let's celebrate together." The villagers cheered. Chidi and Chinonye smiled, knowing that despite everything, this Christmas would be special. Oko village was filled with excitement as news of Chidi and Chinonye's safe return spread like wildfire. People gathered in Okoro's compound, bringing their drums, flutes, and voices to celebrate. Ogadi couldn't stop hugging her children. Chinonye, Chidi, you are back. My heart can finally rest, she said with tears of joy. Okoro placed his hand on their heads. My brave children, you are home now. We will never let anything happen to you again. Okechukwu, who had become a hero in the village, smiled as he saw the happiness around him. He clapped his hands and said, "Now, let's make this Christmas to remember." The women quickly set up a fire and began cooking a feast. They prepared jollof rice, pepper soup, roasted yam, and palm wine for everyone. Children danced around, playing with the goodies Okechukwu had brought, their laughter echoing through the village. Chidi and Chinonye were dressed in their new clothes. Chinonye placed the shiny decorations they had bought on the little Christmas tree in front of their house. "Look, Chidi, isn't it beautiful?" Chidi nodded. "It is, and this is the happiest Christmas ever." Soon, the drummers started beating their drums, and the villagers began to dance. Ogadi joined the women, clapping and singing songs of thanksgiving. Okoro raised his voice in a deep, joyful tune, leading the villagers in singing praises to Chi Amuma, the god of lightning, who had saved his children. "Chi Amuma is truly great," Okoro shouted, and the crowd echoed, "Truly great." Okechukwu stood beside Okoro, watching the celebration. "Your village is full of love and joy," he said. Okoro patted his back, "And it is people like you who made it better. Thank you for saving our children and bringing Christmas gifts back to us." As the sun set, the feast began. Everyone ate, drank, and shared stories. Chidi and Chinonye sat close to their parents, their hearts full of gratitude. Chinonye looked up at Okechukwu and said, "Uncle, thank you for everything. You are our Christmas angel." Okechukwu chuckled. "No, little one. The real angel is Chi Amuma, who protected you. I'm just happy I could help." The celebration lasted late into the night. The stars twinkled brightly in the sky, as if joining in the merriment. When it was time for Okechukwu to leave, the villagers gathered to thank him once more. "You are always welcome here," Okoro said. Okechukwu nodded. "Thank you. My friends, this is a Christmas I will never forget." Chidi and Chinonye hugged him tightly before leaving. As he drove off, the villagers waved, their hearts full of joy and gratitude. Chidi and Chinonye stood hand in hand, watching the car disappear into the distance. "Papa," Chinonye said, looking up at her father, "this is the best Christmas ever." Okoro smiled and held her close. "Yes, my daughter, truly it is." The village of Oko would forever remember this Christmas as the love, kindness, and the power of their gods brought happiness back into their lives. This story teaches us the power of kindness, courage, and faith. Okechukwu's willingness to help Chidi and Chinonye remind us to show love and care to others, especially in time of need. It also shows that no matter how dark a situation may seem, hope and faith can bring light and protection. Finally, it reminds us that unity and gratitude make any celebration like Christmas truly special. Additionally, it highlights the importance of vigilance, especially during this Christmas season. Parents are reminded to keep a close watch over their children, being mindful of where you send them, who they go out with, and who they play with. In these times, it is crucial to stay alert and protect children from harm, as many dangers and evil exist in the world. By staying vigilant and guiding children wisely, we can ensure their safety and well-being, making the season truly joyful for all. Thank you so much for watching this amazing story. Your love and your support means the world to me. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please share them in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more interesting African stories. See you on the next video. Bye!